p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
With the auto insurance market constantly changing, call a professional that will put your needs first. Ray Felton State Farm is a team of licensed professionals that will assess your risk, explain coverage in detail, and assure you understand what would happen if you ever found yourself in a claim situation. You can visit rayfelton.com or call their office at 234-284-2996 for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, and life insurance needs.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand and Built Leather Goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.
Welcome, everybody, to Sports on Tap. This is the high school football show brought to you by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. You are currently watching this on our YouTube channel, Sports on Tap. My name is Ed Dick, alongside Rob Troutman, Professor Hype, Sean Duffy, Noah Jacobson, and Josh Jeffy. We are knee deep. This is the Week 8 high school football show recaps. We will be recapping all of our games from the Suburban League, the Southwestern Conference, the Great Lakes Conference, and the Greater Cleveland Conference. We have 3 games of the week to get through as well. We also have our Power 10, our player of the Ray Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week, and of course, we will be joined by 3 tremendous student athletes: Medina's Austin Knowles and Valley Forge's Ben Farson and Nick Mankins. You are, again, you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Sports on Tap. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at SOT Podcast, on Threads at SOT_podcast, Facebook at Sports on Tap, and of course, our website is sportsontappodcast.com. Get all the latest information about scores, standings, information about where we're going to be, and all the Twitter, all of our feeds, and our live recaps as well. And of course, for stats, pronunciations, anything like that, make sure you email us at sportsontappodcast@gmail.com. We got a lot to get to today, boys. Let's get right to it. Let's go to the Suburban League Natty Daddy, as Josh likes to call it. He's going to get going here with the National Conference of the Suburban League.
Thank you very much, Ed. Yeah, as usual, how things have been going in the Suburban Natty. We have 1 non-conference game and 3 conference games, excuse me. So we're going to start with a non-conference game, and that pitted the Brecksville Bees against the Padua Bruins. And Brecksville comes away with a 35-20 victory. Now, Brecksville got off to a really hot start in this game. They were up 21-0 until Padua's Colin Williams scored on a 21-yard touchdown reception. In the fourth, Padua pulled to within 8 points as it was 28-20 with 4 minutes left to go in the game. But running back for the Bees, the Brecksville. Where are we at, Sean? Hello?
Bees.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for the assist on there, Noah. Brecksville really put the game away. It was Eli Beach. He sealed the victory with a 52-yard touchdown run. And he finished the game with 195 yards on 27 carries, 3 touchdowns in this one. For the Bees, Kyle Keener had 12 receptions for 126 yards, and Colin Siebert led the way passing for the Bees. He was 20 of 30, 263 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And this was a big game for Brecksville as they improved to 5-3 on the year, 2-2 in the conference. Again, this was a non-conference game. But according to Joe Itel, they are now seated at number 8 in the Division II Region 6 playoff scenario. Padua, they dropped to 3-5. They are in Division III Region 10, and they are the number 21 seed in that region. Now, getting into conference play, we're going to start off with the Suburban Natty leading Wadsworth Grizzlies. They keep on rolling, 49-7 victory over the Stowe Monroe Falls Bulldogs. Wadsworth was 42-0 at the half in this one. They were again led by Will Stack. This is pretty normal average stat line for him. He had 3 touchdown runs of 3 yards, 25 yards, and 67 yards. He also had a 4-yard touchdown pass. So in total, he had 182 yards rushing, 109 yards passing. Last week's guest that we had on the show, you can go back to our YouTube page and watch that show. Great interview with Kyle Figueroa. He had a 74 rushing yards and a touchdown. Now, Stowe did get a touchdown late in the game. It was Jacob Harrington. He did have a 2-yard touchdown run, but passing-wise, he was 15 of 26 for 157 yards. Now, I got this stat from the Medina Gazette. This kind of was the story of the game. Rushing yards per play. Stowe averaged 1.4 yards, while Wadsworth averaged 9 yards per rush. So that's a pretty telling story on how this game went. Wadsworth does improve to 7-1. They are still undefeated in Suburban Natty play. They are 5-0, and in Division I, Region 1, they are the 2nd seed. Where Stowe, they dropped to 1-7. They are 1-3 in the conference. They are the number 18 seed in Division I, Region 1. Twinsburg versus North Royalton. Now, this was a really good game. North Royalton coming in with only 1 victory on the year. Twinsburg has been playing some very tough games. And Joe Kinney started the scoring for the Bears in the first quarter with a 1-yard touchdown run. The Bears were up 7-0. Twinsburg would answer back with former guest and former Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week nominee Aiden Stasinski. He had one of his 4 touchdown runs in the game to tie this game up. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, Twinsburg was up 31-14, and then North Royalton really made their comeback. Joe Kinney hit a 25-yard touchdown pass to Mannix Wasco to make it 31-20. That was with 7 minutes left to go in the game. Now then, fast forward 3 minutes with 4 minutes left in the game. Kinney hit Luke Koprowski from 8 yards out, and the score was 31-28. However, Twinsburg would get the ball back. They would not give it up the rest of the game, and they would go up to go on to win this game 31-28. Twinsburg improves to 4-4. They are 1-3 in the conference. North Royalton drops to 1-7. They have not won a conference game yet. They are 0-4. According to Joe Itel in Division II, Region 5, Twinsburg is the number 16 seed. So each game that they play is do or die. They need to keep winning in order to keep those playoff hopes alive. In Division II, Region 6, North Royalton is the number 21 seed. Now, this was our SOT featured game, one of them. This was the game I was at. I was expecting to have some fireworks in this game, but it was not that. It was solid defense, really solid defense. Maybe you could say poor offense of some kind, but it was Hudson against Nordonia. This game was played at Hudson. Now, in this game, both teams lost their leading rusher at some point of the game. Ian Ludwig went out early in the first quarter with a shoulder injury. Rocco DiLorenzo went out later in the game with an ankle injury. So they really relied upon the younger guys to get this one done. Nordonia started the scoring. Ben Chesser found Israel Petit for an awesome 58-yard touchdown pass to make the score 7-0. This guy here was trying really quickly to get down to the other side of the field, did not catch it on video, so I apologize to those two individuals. Great play, though. Wish you could have seen it. The score would stay the same until the third when Colin Boffman strip sack of Chesser. Sophomore Nathan Judy picks up the fumble and scores from 56 yards out to tie the game at 7. Up until then, Hudson really did not have anything going on in the offensive end. In fact, I believe at this point they were 0 for 12 on third down conversions, and their fourth down conversions, which they really attempted a lot, they were not as successful either. Down 10-7, Ben Chesser on fourth down find Israel Petit again for a 30-yard touchdown, and that put the Knights up 14-10 with 7:47 left in this game. Now, going into the final drive, Hudson was 0 for 5 on fourth down conversions. On fourth down, Peyton Nair hit Trey Sharp for 22 yards, and that completed for a first down. And that was huge because 2 plays later, Nair found a wide open Nathan Judy for a 29-yard touchdown score with 1 minute and 32 seconds left. And that put the Explorers up 17-14. Their fans were going crazy on senior night. Nordonia fans, they were really crazy too. They were silenced at this point, stunned that Hudson was able to score that touchdown. And that would be the final score as Hudson improves to 6-2 on the year. They are 4-1 in the conference play. Nordonia drops to 6-2 also, and they are 2-2 in the conference, and they have suffered 2 losses in a row. Now, a couple stats from this game for Hudson. Peyton Nair was 19-31, 218 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Trey Sharp, 5 receptions, 102 yards. And the aforementioned Nathan Judy, 4 receptions, 63 yards. And, of course, that big touchdown late in the fourth quarter, which would eventually become the game-winning score. For Nordonia, Ben Chesser, 16 of 31, 217 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Both of those to Israel Petit, who had 3 receptions, 93 yards, and those 2 touchdowns. Israel Petit also had 9 tackles on defense as he's one of the starting safeties for the Knights. And Liam Coots, the running back, filled in nicely for Rocco DiLorenzo. He had 54 rushing yards on 13 attempts. A really great game, a hard-fought game. Coach Goff at the end of the game there was really excited, was really pumped, actually, that a lot of the younger kids stepped up in this game. You could look at, go back on our Twitter feed. You can see my little post-game interview with him and Nathan Judy, who is only a sophomore, and he's got some promise. So, guys, it was a very exciting week in the Suburban Natty. but I know it's even more exciting, if not as exciting, probably not even more exciting, because Suburban Natty is the key in this division or this conference. But we're going to toss it over to our good pal, Professor Hype, to talk about the Suburban American. Sean, take it away, bud.
Well, Josh, thank you so much. And while I don't guarantee more excitement, I do guarantee the same level of excitement when I bring you the Suburban League American Conference Week 8 recap. As always, we start in Aurora. Aurora hosted Kent Roosevelt, and they did what Aurora's been doing all year: take care of business with a 45-7 victory over the Rough Riders in Week 8. Greenman running back Enzo Catania had 2 rushing touchdowns in this. Quarterback Brandon Lipens had a passing touchdown in this, but it was all Aurora all night. Aurora currently sits 4th in Division III Region 9, whereas Kent Roosevelt sits in 21st at Division III Region 9, with Kent Roosevelt having a 4-4 record, Aurora having a 7-1 record. Moving on to Barberton and Copley, and this was the shootout of the week in the American Conference. Barberton gets a big, hard-fought 51-47 victory over Copley in Week 8. Barberton quarterback Dominic Wilson went off in this game, guys. 10 of 12 for 181 yards and 4 pass touchdowns in this game. Also had a rushing touchdown in this game as well. Magic's running back Xavier Macon, 28 carries, 226 yards rushing, 1 rush TD, 1 pass reception for a touchdown. Not to be outdone, Caleb Mansell, former Ray Felton Player of the Week nominee from Copley, finished with 18 of 30 for 240 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and a rush touchdown for himself. And Copley running back Tony Cox had 22 carries, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns. With this win, Coach Tony Gatto breaks Rudy Sharkey's all-time win record at Barberton. Think about that. Next time you got to build a new stadium in Barberton, it's going to be the Tony Gatto Stadium for the Magics. Barberton is the number 8 seed currently in Division II Region 5, whereas Copley is number 23 currently in Division III Region 10. Next, we go to Cuyahoga Falls, and, well, Talmadge showed up and played a football game in this one, guys, as Talmadge notches its 3rd win of the season with a 48-7 victory over Cuyahoga Heights. Talmadge got a rushing TD from 4 separate players in this game. I want to get these names right. Ricky McLean, TJ Moscow, Logan Miles, and Keegan Gilbride all had a rushing touchdown in this game.
Great effort.
Great effort. Blue Devils quarterback Ryan Lovelace had a touchdown pass in this game to Caleb Reifsnyder. But it was all Talmadge all night. Cuyahoga Falls quarterback Joey Earl did have a touchdown pass in this game to Dominic Willick. But again, 48-7 was the final score here. Talmadge improves to 3-5 in the Week 8. Cuyahoga Falls falls to 2-6. Talmadge is currently sitting at number 23 in Division III Region 9, whereas Cuyahoga Falls is also 23rd, but they are in Division II Region 5. Final game in the American Conference had Highland go and take care of business against Revere on the road with a 56-20 victory over Revere. Highland quarterback Peyton Janikis, 5 of 7 passing, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also carried the ball 12 times for 122 yards and a touchdown as well. Highland's Matt Syriac had 1 touchdown reception in this game. And Highland running back Evan Grant had a touchdown reception and 2 rush TDs in the game. Also, Johnny Salico had a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Highland sits at number 3 in Division II Region 6, already clinching a playoff spot. They are working to secure a home playoff game, possibly that number 2 spot in the region. Revere sits at number 17 in Division III Region 10. They have an outside chance of making the playoffs, but they need some help, and they need to take care of business in the next 2 weeks. Our Player of the Week nominee for the Suburban League, Josh, he texted me early Saturday morning and said, we got to do Eli Beach. We got to do Eli Beach. I said, who's Eli Beach? He told me who Eli Beach was. I listened. I went back and forth because, again, I had some stats. I was going back and forth with Dominic Wilson, but I go, you know what? We haven't had a Bees quarterback or a Bees player as a nominee all year. So I said, you know what? I'm going to defer to my man, Josh Jeffy, and say, you win this round, but I'm taking next round. Yes, that's right. Eli Beach, well-deserved Player of the Week nominee for the Suburban League. Guys, that is all that's fit to print in the American Conference. Let's look ahead and see what we got on tap. See what I did there? For Week 9 in the Suburban National Division. Josh, what do we got?
Well, you actually did that last week, the little pun there. So way to be consistent with that.
That's my thing. It's called a trademark. Let's move
on.
Oh,
so you're going to be Professor Pun now. Nice.
So whatever it takes.
Per usual in the Suburban Natty, we're going to have one non-conference game, Wadsworth, and we talked to Kyle Figueroa last week about this. They're going to travel to Fort Hill, Maryland. So that's going to be a real fun game for them. Hopefully they come away for Ohio's sake with the victory. But in terms of conference play, Hudson will travel to North Royalton. Stowe will travel to Nordonia. And a really big game in the Suburban Natty is going to be the Brecksville Bees. They will travel to Twinsburg. Brecksville, has their playoff lives kind of steady. Twinsburg still fighting for them. So those are important games.
That's right. Thank you, Josh. And in the American Division or American Conference, we have a big-time matchup for the Green Men. Aurora traveling into Rudy Sharkey, should be called Tony Gatto Stadium in Barberton to take on the Magics. Copley travels to Revere. Cuyahoga Falls travels into Highland. And Kent Roosevelt takes that long train ride to Talmadge. That's it for the Suburban League. Let's move on. Let's go back to you, Ed.
They take trains. Nice.
Great work on the Suburban League as always, gentlemen. I will have a couple comments. One, from the Natty, it looks like, last time I said a game was played, we now have two guests from the team that proved me wrong. So I will say that Wadsworth is in the driver's seat. They obviously have one more conference game to go in week 10. Things are looking pretty good for Wadsworth. For the Natty, it's going to be Brecksville and Twinsburg. That game is going to be huge as far as determining A, can Twinsburg make the playoffs, and B, Bees, can Brecksville not only maintain their spot, but can potentially sneak into a top 8 to get at least one home game in Division II, Region 6. For the American, obviously, it's a collision course between Aurora and Highland. However, Barberton proved that they could score. They could score a lot of points, and Barberton stands in the way of an Aurora in Highland championship matchup in Week 10. And so if we know Coach Mahalik, he is not overlooking Barberton one bit. I happen to have played for Rudy Sharkey at Mount Union. He was a line coach when I was there. It will always, as much as Coach Gatto wins, he's gonna have a hard time taking down Coach Sharkey or the ghost of Coach Sharkey for that one. That dude is tough dude.
And I would never say that that's what they're actually doing. I'm just saying Sharkey Gatto Stadium.
Sharkey Gatto actually has a good ring to it, or Gatto Sharkey.
It sounds like either it sounds like a great law firm or a fantastic coaching tree. But that's
Gatto.
That's
Gatto Sharkey sounds like it could be a new viral kids video, actually.
Okay.
I think we go Gatto Field and Sharkey Stadium. Maybe we do that.
There you go.
There you go.
I think
you
that's
do
a
that
good
too.
compromise.
There's a plethora of options.
Yes, there are. So next week, just as a programming note, next week we're most likely going to be shooting for maybe one student athlete, but we're really going to be focusing in on the conference races and the playoffs in all of our respective playoff regions. So we will have a lot more discussion about our conferences in the playoffs next week going into Week 10. Let's shift over to Rob Troutman to take on, as he was at the Avon Lake Olmsted Falls game, which will be one of our featured games of the week, and he's got everything that is the Southwestern Conference. Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Ed. And, we'll start first. It was Berea Mid-Park taking on North Ridgeville in Week 8. And the Rangers, they were looking to get back at their winning ways at home, and the Titans were looking to ruin that. And Austin Clay, if he had anything to say about it, he had a lot to say in this game. 3 touchdowns in the first half. Two were on passes and 1 on a punt return. Berea Mid-Park, they jumped out big, 25-0 at halftime. And after halftime, they continued to score as Devin Zahersky would score on a 7-yard run, and running back Noah Silva went 63 yards to the house. At one point, it was 31-0 before North Ridgeville would get on the board with a Charlie Steinmetz 11-yard touchdown run. The Titans, they win in this one, and the defense stepped up for the Titans and offense. They came through with a big win, 31-7 for Berea Mid-Park. It was running back Noah Silva running for 72 yards and a touchdown, and the Titans quarterback Maddox Swisher He passed for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns on the night. Wide receiver Austin Clay, 7 catches, 126 yards and 3 touchdowns. This kid is dangerous with his punt and kick returns. He's headed to Bowling Green, and he really has been explosive so far this season. For the Rangers, they were led by running back Charlie Steinmetz. He did rush 18 rushes for 104 yards and a touchdown, but North Ridgeville just struggling to find offense. They fall to 5-3 on the season, 2-3 in conference, and Berea Mid-Park at 4-4, 3-2 with the win. Avon taking on Midview. Midview coming off a big win, beating the Rangers last week. They have an even tougher task this week, taking on the Eagles. And the Eagles, they weren't messing around. They wanted to jump out quick, and it was a kick returner, Tyler Kaufman, going 85 yards to the house to start the scoring for Avon. Avon at one point got up 31-0 at half, thanks to 2 scores from Jacorian Caffey, a running touchdown by quarterback Nolan Good, and a field goal from Owen Warwick. The Eagles running back Jacorian Caffey, in this game, he also broke 3 different records at Avon. First, Caffey ran 9 yards, which he needed 8 yards to become Avon's leading rusher with 3,940 yards. He now is the all-time touchdown leader as well with 60 touchdowns and the all-time scoring record with 260 in Avon history. So congratulations to running back Jacorian Caffey on now being in the Avon record books for good. What a season and what a career really for Jacorian Caffey at Avon. Just now 3 different records broke in one night there. Very impressive and a special night for him. So after half, Midview, they would get on the board with a touchdown run by Middy's quarterback Ethan Albert, but too much Eagles as they win big in this one, 45-7. Avon running back Jacorian Caffey finished with 80 yards. Rushing and 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Nolan Good had 194 yards and a touchdown. He also scored 1 on the ground. Avon 8-0, 5-0 in conference. Midview falls to 3-5, 1-5 in conference. Again, Avon 45-7 winner. Now this is a crazy game. Amherst hosting Elyria, or actually Amherst taking on Elyria here. And this game, if you attended this game, you're probably never going to forget it because there was a lot of scoring and the offensive numbers are off the score sheet. In a game that really kept going back and forth. It was 20-20 at half, and it was Amherst quarterback Cole Norris having 3 touchdown passes in the first half, and Elyria running back Kevin Jordan, he had 2 touchdowns, and the Elyria quarterback Justin Godbold had a touchdown pass to Lorico Baker, the wide receiver. And really, this was the Cole Norris and Kevin Jordan show. Cole Norris, the quarterback for Amherst, and Kevin Jordan, the running back for Elyria. They traded scores in the second half. Elyria would get up by 2 touchdowns late in the game. Amherst would score, though, with a Cole Norris touchdown, but it was too late in this one as Elyria held on to a 46-41 win. And for Elyria, it was our Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week in the Southwestern Conference. The nominee was Kevin Jordan, the running back. He rushed for 334 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion. And for Amherst, and this is an incredible performance as well, quarterback Cole Norris, he threw for 424 yards, 4 touchdowns. He ran for 60 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Eli Solak for Amherst, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Elyria gets his first win under head coach Brian Fox, and Elyria junior running back Kevin Jordan also broke Elyria's single-game rushing record set back in 1989 by Tony Godbolt Jr. of 303 yards. Both teams, they combined for 978 yards of offense and 40 first downs in the game. Again, Elyria notching its first win of the season, 46-41. Amherst falls to 3-5, 1-4. Now, the featured game of the week in the Southwestern Conference had the chance to go to Olmsted Falls as they hosted Avon Lake. Both these teams very physical and teams that usually run the ball a lot and still kind of do. They also passed, and both offenses early on and often were really scoring at a high rate. After the first quarter was tied at 14, and for the visiting Shoremen, it was a 63-yard pass from quarterback Alex Falter to wide receiver Derek McCrum, and a 28-yard run by Anthony Benedict. And then for Olmsted Falls, it was a quarterback score by Jimmy Rossell and another run by running back Derek Neckar. The Bulldogs defense, so they really stepped up and settled in, stopping the Shoreman offense. And actually, the Bulldogs scored 21 straight points before the Shoremen finally found the end zone one last time. Olmsted Falls, though, they got a big win in Southwestern Conference play, 49-24. The Bulldogs quarterback Jimmy Rossell, he had 118 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns and 94 yards passing. Wide receiver Trent Herbernicki had rushed 7 times for 61 yards and caught 3 passes for 76 yards for 2 touchdowns. And sophomore running back Owen Singleton, another good game for the Bulldogs, 137 yards rushing. For Avon Lake, it was quarterback Alex Falter. He passed for 205 and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Derek McCrum, 5 passes, 132 yards and a touchdown. And running back Anthony Benedict, 82 yards and a touchdown. And also on hand at Olmsted Falls, Olympian and gold medalist Katie Moon, she's also known as Katie Moon Najat, at the game, watching the Bulldogs from the sidelines. Had a chance to talk with her a little bit. But you can go to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, and then look and watch the Avon Lake versus all the Olmsted Falls highlights there, because there were a ton of highlights in this game and a very good performance by both teams early. Just a great game to be a part of, and a great atmosphere there in Olmsted Falls. So again, a 49-24 winner. Olmsted Falls improves to 6-2, 4-1. Avon Lake Falls to 6-2, 4-1 in conference. My SWC Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week nominee is Illyria running back Kevin Jordan, 30 rushes, 334 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion in the 46-41 win over Amherst. First of the season, and setting that school record is very impressive. So congratulations to him. The Southwestern Conference looking ahead into Week 9. Avon takes on Amherst. North Ridgeville takes on Avon Lake. Berea Mid-Park, there's a rivalry. Berea Mid-Park and Olmsted Falls going to face off. That should be a really good one. Elyria and Midview, that should be another great game. Can Elyria get 2 in a row there? That's going to be a fun one to watch. So if you have a chance, head to Midview and watch that one. That should be a great game as well in the Southwestern Conference. And back to Ed, as that's the Southwestern Conference. Fit to print, as one would say.
Absolutely, Rob. Great work. Good job getting the shout out from Katie Najat, Katie Moon, as she is known now.
Yeah.
Gold medalist in both the Olympics and the World Championships.
Yep.
And a quick note about the Southwestern Conference. I think we talked about Elyria last week, and besides Brunswick, they've had probably one of the toughest schedules up to this point. All their non-conference schedules, their non-conference opponents, the 3 of them are combined 22-2, and then they've played all the studs so far in the Southwestern Conference. They've played Avon, they've played Olmsted Falls, they've played Avon Lake. But what you've noticed is, starting with the North Ridgeville game, and definitely the Avon Lake game, Coach Fox has this team kind of operating that we know a Coach Fox team can operate, and they finally saw it come to fruition this week with a win over Amherst. And to your point, we'll see if they can maintain the momentum against Midview, and then get into again play a very tough Berea Mid-Park game, who had one of the better games this week as well, really laying it down. North Ridgeville, Coach Hunick has bounced back from the loss to Avon pretty efficiently there. So lots to talk about in the Southwestern Conference, and we'll certainly get into that more next week as we talk about as we wrap up that end of it. So again, great job, Rob, and let's move over to the Greater Cleveland Conference with Dr. Hoops. Noah Jacobson is going to take it away for us here.
All right, well, thank you, Ed, and a pretty high-scoring affair this week in the Greater Cleveland Conference as we're getting close to playoff time. We'll start off with the Menor Cardinals playing against the Brunswick Blue Whales, and guys, as always, a game was played in this one so far. Mentor quarterback Scotty Fox finished the game. He was 23 of 33 for 335 yards, 4 touchdowns. He also did have a rushing touchdown in this game. He also did stumble with 2 interceptions. Wide receiver Justin Hodge had 4 catches for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Grant Kearney had 5 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Austin Van Huss had 6 catches for 79 yards and a touchdown. For Brunswick, Cooper Neal had 8 carries for 42 yards. He also did have 1 catch for 13 yards. Quarterback Ethan Raxandich was 5 of 14 for 29 yards. He also had an interception in this game, but he did have 9 carries for 32 yards. But in the end, as I always say, a game was played as Mentor would win 41-0 over Brunswick. Mentor goes to 5-3, 4-1 in the conference. They are currently number 5 in Division I, Region 1. For Brunswick, they moved to 1-7. They are 1-4 in conference play, and they are currently the 17th seed in Division I, Region 1. Moving on to our next game. This was a kind of little bit of a rough week as Euclid was originally scheduled to play Solon, but that game originally was canceled. But the good news for Euclid is they were able to find an opponent, but as always, as we say, a game was played. The River Round team from Michigan was able to beat Euclid 36-6 in this game as Euclid drops to 1-7. They are currently the number 14th seed in Division I, Region 1. Next game, we got the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. They were taking on the Strongsville Mustangs. Shaker Heights' quarterback Abdullah Ahmad was 22 of 34 for 253 yards and a touchdown. He also did have 2 interceptions in this game. Running back Caden King had 17 carries for 42 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Trey McNutt III had 6 catches for 75 yards and touchdowns. Give credit to the Shaker Heights' defense. They had 2 interceptions, a touchdown, and a sack. That one touchdown was by Degamo Regius, who took it from 65 yards. Unbelievable. For Strongsville, their quarterback, Horst Portell, had a passing touchdown in this game, but in the end, the Shaker Heights Red Raiders bounced back after a loss from Mentor a week before, and they went out to win 23-7 over Strongsville. Shaker Heights improves to 7-1, 4-1 in conference play. They're currently the 7th seed in Division II, Region 5. For Strongsville, they dropped to 3-5, 2-3 in conference play, and they are currently the 12th seed in Division I, Region 1. And that's well, at least, guys. I've been waiting all week for this game. I've been circling this probably since it came out. The Cleveland Heights Tigers versus the Medina Bees. It was a bloodbath from the start to beginning as both teams combined for 114 points. Medina quarterback Danny Steiner finished the game. He was 29 of 48 for 495 yards, 7 touchdowns. He also did stumble with 5 interceptions in this game, but he did have 22 carries for 112 yards and touchdowns. And my Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week nominee for the 3rd time this year, guys, and I still say his name, Cleveland Heights running back Marquise Do It All Davis, 29 carries, 359 yards, 6 touchdowns in this game. That kid continues to put up points. Unbelievable. Medina wide receiver Austin Knowles, who we'll have on the show in a little bit, had 11 catches for 211 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jack Wojak had 8 catches for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Nathan Angus had 5 catches for 107 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. Cleveland Heights wide receiver John Gordon Jr. had 2 catches for 52 yards. He did have a pick 6 touchdown with 50 seconds left to go in the first quarter for 45 yards. But in the end, the Cleveland Heights Tigers proved they were the better team. And guess what? They were by beating Medina 62-52. Cleveland Heights improves to 7-1, 5-0 in conference play. They are currently the 3rd seed in Division I, Region 1. Medina drops to 5-3, 3-2 in conference play. They are currently the 6th seed in Division I, Region 1. And we will move forward to our Week 9 schedule already in the Greater Cleveland Conference. Solon will travel to Brunswick. Euclid will travel to Cleveland Heights. Shaker Heights will travel to Medina. And Strongsville will travel to Mentor. And that is my Week 8 recap of the Greater Cleveland Conference and Week 9 schedule. And we'll throw it back to Ed Dick.
No, great job. Lots going on this week. The Medina, I agree with you. We saw the Medina and Cleveland Heights game. especially after the Menor had already played these teams and split with them. We're really wondering how this is going to work. And Cleveland Heights has really asserted their dominance in this conference so far. It certainly doesn't get any easier for them. Cleveland Heights does end with Euclid. Record-wise, may not be the best matchup that you'll see, but it is still an old Lake Erie League rivalry. And, of course, Shaker Heights is having a tremendous year, 7-1 so far. We'll see what Shaker Heights is made of in these next 2 weeks when they do go against Medina and Cleveland Heights. If they can pick off one of those teams, that'll greatly assist their playoff efforts for sure. So lots to talk about here in the Greater Cleveland Conference. What I will say too is with Illyria's win and a win that I'm going to talk about here shortly, Brunswick is currently out of the playoffs in Division I, Region 1. So they need to get a win here against Solon or Stromsville to help themselves out there. Both winnable games, and we'll see what happens there. So great job in the conference as always. All right, let's get to the Great Lakes Conference here. And let me get my recaps up. All right, I'm going to start in the lower left-hand corner here because this was great. I'm very happy to see this. Normandy has played well this year. They just haven't had a win to show for it. But Lakewood quarterback Avery Holt, he kicked a 37-yard field goal to start the game off. But Elijah Gray from Normandy, he's been a dude all year long for the Normandy Invaders. He answered with a 30-yard touchdown pass to Austin Konicki. Holt answered with a 4-yard touchdown run. Rangers were up 9-8 in the second quarter. But Elijah Gray scored 2 more touchdowns. There were 2 more successful 2-point conversions. They were up 24-9. Lakewood's Don McCulloch brought Lakewood to 25-14 going into the fourth quarter with a 10-yard touchdown run. But Gray scored his 3rd touchdown on the ground. He followed up with another successful 2-point conversion. Normandy gets a 32-21 victory. That is their first win of the year. Elijah Gray accounted for all 4 touchdowns in some form or fashion. He threw for 1, ran for 3. He ran for a couple 2-point conversions in there as well. He's just been phenomenal this year for Normandy. Lakewood quarterback Avery Holt was no slouch himself. He was 17-28 passing for 1 touchdown, but he did have 2 interceptions. So the Normandy's defense came to play today. Holt also had 14 rushes for 16 yards and 62 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Dynamic receiving duo Alex Simons, he had 6 catches for 87 yards, and Jalen Chappell had 5 catches for 78 yards and a touchdown. Lucas Quick, what a great game defensively for the Rangers. He had 19 tackles, 14 of which were solo, along with a tackle for loss. With the win, Normandy is 1-6 overall, 1-1 in GLC East play. They are Lakewood falls to 2-6 overall. They are 0-3 in conference play. Normandy right now holds the last spot in Division I, Region 1. Lakewood is hanging on at number 15 in Division II, Region 6. Holy Name drove out the Canfield. This was a rematch of a Division III state semifinal matchup from last year. And unfortunately for the Green Wave, this was not as competitive. Canfield rolls the Wave by a score of 42-9. Rough one for the quarterbacks as well for Holy Name. Andrew Cole and Harrison Frank, they seemed a little overwhelmed by the Canfield defense. They only completed 7 of 16 passing for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nick Nemeth did get the only touchdown for Holy Name, but that was not nearly enough. Holy Name falls to 2-6 overall, 1-1 in Great Lakes in GLC East play. The defending Division III state champion, the Canfield Cardinals, they do improve to 4-3. Valley Forge took on Buckeye, and this was a shocker. Mea culpa. I thought this was Buckeyes to lose, and Valley Forge, as they have done over the years, they always seem to come up with an upset somewhere, and they did it this time here as well. Valley Forge beat Buckeye down with a steady diet of their patented wing T offense. Albert Grindle had a great article in the Medina County Gazette. I highly recommend you guys, whoever's viewing this, go check that out at medinagazette.com. The Patriots did score the first 2 touchdowns. Nick Mankins and Ben Farson will be our guests here in a little bit. Mankins scored for 1 yard out. Farson scored from 63. Troy McCann for the Bucks answered with a 3-yard touchdown run, but Mankins countered with a 65-yard touchdown run. Gage Nagy then scored from 7 yards out, and Braden Bonnet hit a 21-yard field goal to cut the lead to 21-17. Unfortunately for Buckeye, they were very deep in the Patriots' territory. Unfortunately, they were befelled by a couple of penalties and untimely situations. The field goal was the result of that, unfortunately for them. But Danny Keywell from Valley Forge threw a 27-yard touchdown pass to wrap up the scoring and complete the upset. The defense was stellar for the Patriots. They forced a fumble. They got an interception, again, at very integral parts of the game. Add that all up, Buckeye falls to Valley Forge by a score of 28-17. For Buckeye, Casey Murray completed 14 of 24 passing for 182 yards. Medina County leading rusher Troy McCann was bottled up pretty efficiently. He only had 12 rushes for 48 yards and a touchdown. Gage Nagy had 4 carries for 31 yards and a touchdown. He also caught one pass for 29 yards. And Austin Heyer had 7 catches for 70 yards. I think we'll talk about this with Mankins and Farson a little bit later, but I think when you force Buckeye to pass the ball as much as Casey Murray had to pass in this game, you're in a good spot if you're the opponent of Buckeye. And it is not that Casey Murray can't pass the ball, because he's shown he can very much do that. He's just been very efficient with his passing, and that was not the case in this game because they were able to bottle the run game so well. Conversely, Danny Keywell for Valley Forge, he was 6-7 passing for 85 yards and a touchdown. The exact opposite. He had the game that we are used to seeing from Casey Murray. Low passes, but very efficient. Nick Mankins had 26 rushes for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had a catch for 10 yards. And Ben Farson had 12 rushes for 103 yards. He also caught 4 passes for 63 yards. Of course, he had the touchdown as well. Valley Forge improves to 3-5 overall. They are in the driver's seat of the conference. They're 2-0. They are currently 10th in Division II, Region 6. Buckeye drops their first game of the year. They are 7-1 overall. They are 2-1 in the conference. They are 7th in Division III, Region 10. They have unofficially clinched a playoff berth, according to JoeIdle.com. Let's shift over to the West Conference, or the West Division here real quick. All right, I have 2 games I'll cover, and then Sean Duffy's going to handle the last one. Bay took on Westlake. This was a great matchup here. We were waiting to see the triumvirate of Bay, Rocky River, and Westlake all play each other. And Westlake is now taking on Rocky River and Bay. The scoreboard was busy. Westlake jumped on top. Matthew Porcelli had 2 touchdown runs covering 3 yards and 1 yard. But Bay running back Brendan Spellman got the Rockets on the board with a 12-yard rushing touchdown. Cooper Rummel restored the lead for Westlake with a 6-yard touchdown run. Bay proceeded to completely hammer the Demons in the second half, though they outscored Westlake 37-7 in the second half to pull away for a 44-28 victory over the Demons. For Bay, Brendan Spellman had 19 rushes for 203 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last week's Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week was Rocco Hereditario. He had about 25 rushes for over 130 yards and 3 touchdowns himself. And Jack McAlay, he had 11 tackles, 5 solo for the Rockets. For the Demons, Sam Brucieri was 15 of 19 passing for 127 yards and a touchdown. Matthew Porcelli, 20 carries, 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Cooper Rummel did a little bit of everything here. He caught 9 passes for 44 yards and a touchdown. He also returned a kickoff, 98 yards for a touchdown. And then Andrew Palka was an absolute beast for Westlake. He had 13 tackles, 11 of which were solo, with also 2 tackles for loss. Bay moves to 7-1 overall. They are undefeated at 3-0 in West Division play. They are number 8 in Division III, Region 10. They have unofficially clinched a playoff spot in that region. Westlake falls to 5-3. They are 1-2 in the Great Lakes West play. They are currently 9th in Division II, Region 6. Rocky River took on Elyria Catholic, and Rocky River maintained their dominance in the Great Lakes Conference, a 35-21 victory over Elyria Catholic. Julian Patty, an uncharacteristic day. By that I mean he had just as many interceptions as he had touchdowns. We're used to seeing him throw 5, 6, 7 touchdowns. And this time he had 16 of 28 passing for 265, 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So credit Elyria Catholic's defense for having a great game plan against Patty. But even with that, with the 3 turnovers, they were not able to take advantage. Nick DeSalvo, usual stud, 26 carries, 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 6 receptions for 96 yards and a touchdown. And, of course, Ryan Ricchetti, 6 catches, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also rushed once for 7 yards and had a 3-yard completion as well. For Elyria Catholic, unfortunately, the 3 interceptions that Julie and Patty had, Hector Garcia returned the favor. Unfortunately for him, he had 8 of 7. He completed 8 of 17 passing for 46 yards and the 3 touchdowns. But Brady Engel spelled him. He completed 7 of 10 passing for 84 yards and a touchdown. He had a touchdown on 4 carries with 12 yards, and he also had 18 tackles on defense. Brady Engel all over the place here. Anthony Dean Martinez had 16 carries for 98 yards, and he caught 3 passes for 47 yards. Mason Halliburton, 3 passes for 40 yards for the Panthers. With the win, Rocky River improves to 7-1. They are 3-0 in GLC West play. They are number 6 in Division III, Region 10, and they have clinched a playoff spot. Elyria Catholic falls to 2-6 overall, 0-3 in conference play, and they are hanging on at number 7. They are just outside the bubble, number 17 in Division IV, Region 14. I'm going to throw it over to Sean. He was at the North Olmsted and Fairview game as our last of our 3 SOT player featured games of the week. Sean.
Thank you, Ed. And it was a fantastic, fantastic game if you're a North Olmsted Eagles fan. Coming off their first win last week over Elyria Catholic, they were looking to get their second in a row, and they picked up wherever they left off. And again, if you want to read the play-by-play, the blow-by-blow, go ahead and go to our website. I got some videos out there, but it was an onslaught. 35 unanswered points by North Olmsted in the first half. 2 rushing touchdowns by Michael Pasafume. I tried my best to pronounce that the same way they did on the thing, but if I screwed that up, again, direct all complaints to Rob Troutman at sportsontap@gmail.com. One of the things that I noticed, one of the many things I noticed about the North Olmsted offense was how great they felt having a guy like Colin Willard back for them. He got 1 touchdown reception, a nice pass across the middle by Horsfall there, by Tommy Horsfall. But, it was also, he drew attention from Fairview's defense. There was always a safety over top of him. After he scored that touchdown, I want to say that they didn't really leave him alone. They had him bracketed most of the night, but he still was able to come away with a lot of receptions. Another fantastic, fantastic play by, where is it? Mr. Chalkwater, Matthew Chalkwater. He had a 54-yard run just right up the middle down the sideline. And again, to go to our website, check out the article from that I wrote on Friday. I was actually, for the first time in my career, I was in perfect position. He ran right by me. I should have high-fived him. I didn't want to be interfering with the game, but I really wanted to high-five him. Also, Lawrence Stanley had 2 touchdowns in this game for North Olmsted, guys. 1 on a great pick 6 right before the first half, and he also got in on the offensive side of the ball with a touchdown reception. The alone points for Fairview. Fairview could not get any sort of momentum going. They scored their first touchdown on a kind of a weird pick 6 by Nolan Reese. North Olmsted had been backed up to the 1-yard line. They were trying to throw out of their end zone for some reason. And, it was just a bad pass by Tommy Horsfall. And it was towards the end of the game. We were in a running clock situation. I think they were trying to get the ball out so they could, maybe run that a little bit more. But credit to Nolan Reese, who was able to pick that off, take it to the house. And then they had a lone touchdown in this late in the game. But it was all North Olmsted all night. North Olmsted gets their second win of the victory, 42-14. And I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to you so you can give us an idea of what we're looking for in Week 9 for the Great Lakes Conference.
Will do. Thanks, Sean. Great job on the coverage there, as always. For Week 9, we do have Buckeye going off conference here to play Gilmore Academy. That's going to be a really, really good game. 2 great records there. Lots of computer points on the line. Holy Name is going to take on Lakewood. And on Thursday night, Valley Forge is going to look to continue their momentum and potentially lock up a Division III, GLC East Division Championship against Normandy. There's going to be lots of this game. Parma is no more, so you got to figure some of the Parma players probably went to both schools. Normandy did shift up to Division I, Region 1 recently, so I'm looking forward to this matchup to see what's going to give here. In the West Division, Elyria Catholic's going to take on Fairview. Westlake is going to travel to North Olmsted, and This is going to be the big one. Rocky River takes on Bay Village. They have identical records, 7-1 overall, 3-0 in conference play. I have a feeling we're going to talk more about this game here in a little bit. But that's all we got for the Great Lakes Conference. We are going to be joined by Austin Knowles here shortly. Before we get to that, though, let's get a word from our sponsors here real quick. And then when we get back, we will speak. Let me ask this question first. Rob, is he ready?
Yeah, he is in. He's in the waiting room.
Queue.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get a word of our sponsors, and when we come back, we will have Medina wide receiver Austin Knowles joining us here on the Sports on Tap High School Football Show, presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance.
All coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
ORT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
For handmade quality leather products, check out Hand and Built Leather Goods. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind. Check them out on their website at www.gvartwork.com and use the code ONTAP10 to get 10% off your full order. GV Art and Design.
Welcome back to Sports on Tap. Glad you stuck around and listened to a word from all of our tremendous sponsors here. We're very happy to be joined by Medina receiver Austin Knowles. Just a tremendous effort in one of the best games you'll probably see all year. It didn't go Medina's way, but there was certainly a lot of fireworks on both sides of the ball there. We're joined by Austin Knowles. Austin, thanks for taking the time out of the season to join us. We look forward to talking to you a little bit here. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for letting me on the show.
Thanks for joining us. You've had one of the best years we have seen out of a receiver, and not only in Greater Cleveland Conference, I would say in our entire coverage area. And last week is no different. About 11 receptions, over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really building on what you put together as a junior. Explain a little bit between what's the biggest difference you noticed between your junior year and your senior year? Whether that's maybe more speed or just a better understanding of working with Danny, and maybe just your role in the offense.
One of the big parts is the speed and strength work I got. I mean, me and Pete Jarvis, one of our linemen, real great guy. He works out with me, and we be in the gym a lot. And I think one of the biggest parts actually is just I'm a lot less nervous this year than I was last year. So I'm able to just really relax out there and play my game.
Austin, again, thank you so much for joining us. I always ask the question of every skill position, what are some of the things you took, and kind of building off what Ed said, you took last year? You mentioned your nerves have probably subsided a little bit, but what other things did you focus on in the offseason from your from your skill set that you really wanted to sharpen coming into this year and maybe continuing to work on throughout the season?
I would say releases were a big thing I've worked on in the off season, and I had a lot of times last year where I just catch the ball and fall down. So a lot of rack stuff, trying to get my yards after catch up, and just trying not to go down.
Well, you're definitely doing that this year at a pretty good clip. So you're on track to fix that issue if there even really was an issue last year.
Hey, Austin.
Go ahead, Josh.
Thanks. No, I appreciate it. Hey, Austin, I was curious, having a spread offense is nothing new. But over the past few years, Medina has pretty much taken that to the next level. Have you noticed, since, we're seeing this year specifically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we've seen more rushing numbers coming from the Bees offense. Do you find that defenses are finally starting to adjust to your wide open spread Air Bees campaign that you guys go through every week?
I mean, kind of. I mean, like we'll be watching film, and it's hard to watch film on a team because they come out in a totally different defense every time they play us. They have like 2 or 3 down linemen, so people are trying to adjust to that. So we adjust to their adjustments, and we start running the ball more until they start to press up on us.
Austin, thank you again for taking the time and joining us tonight. One of the things that really sticks out to me is that I was at the game against Strongsville 2 weeks ago, and you broke the all-time program record for the all-time receiving touchdowns last, passing one of your teammates, Brent Stram, who's at a walk-on at Ohio State. Just kind of talk about what has it meant to you playing for him the last couple of years, and how have you grown into that leadership role that he had last year?
Yeah, I look up to Stram. He's a great receiver. I want to go up to Ohio State one day, hopefully. So this record, it means a lot to me, and took a lot of work to get it. So it felt great breaking that record last week.
Yeah, it takes a lot of hard work, and you've definitely put in the hard work, and you're dealing with some awesome quarterbacks. I mean, Drew Aller was there; he was passing all over the field, and now Danny Stoddard. Everybody wondered, you lose Drew Aller, what's going to be the difference? And give credit to Danny Stoddard. I mean, he put in the work, and your offense is putting up incredible numbers. What's it like to play with a quarterback that can do that? I mean, his passing seems unstoppable, really. And you guys have that bond, it seems like, on the field where he knows where you're going to be at all times. And you guys just keep making big plays.
Oh, yeah. I mean, playing with him is amazing. He's super accurate passer and super mobile stuff. You can't really – it's hard to get him down for a sack. And we work together during practice. We played together since middle school, so he's just really good at putting the ball where only I could grab it and, lead me and all that.
We're talking with Medina Bees wide receiver Austin Knowles. Obviously last week against Cleveland Heights, it didn't go. Obviously didn't go the way you wanted it. But you guys scored a lot of points. My question is, where did you guys see that you guys could have some success against the Cleveland Heights defense?
Our coaches been helping us during practices, running against a lot of scout man defense. So that helps a lot when playing a team, getting practicing against like a mock drill and stuff like that. We had a lot of success with vertical routes until they started moving to safeties. So, once they did that, it was a little hard for me to get open at least.
All right, Austin. Go ahead,
okay,
Sean.
Josh.
I
was just gonna say. I mean, you guys have to, put that loss behind you. Obviously, with that Cleveland Heights loss, because you got a pretty big one this week against a good team that's on the come here, Shaker Heights. What are some of the things? I know it's early in the week, and we don't want to give away the recipe here. But what are the things that you guys are focusing on coming into this matchup with Shaker Heights?
Really, we're just focusing on coming off that loss. We just getting the energy up, picking our heads back up, and we're doing us. We just got to keep doing what we do, converting on fourth downs. Just airing it out.
Well, that was going to kind of feed into my question. You mentioned energy. How in the heck do you guys keep up with running all those routes all game? And it's just going like when you come into the season, like you have to be in shape. Like that's probably one of the major hurdles you got to go through during your off season. Make sure you're coming to camp in shape. How do you guys maintain that energy all season?
Our entire practice is pretty much just us running routes, and we get a couple water breaks during the practice, but it's a lot of running, And especially during the summer. I mean, during the summer we don't even practice drills or anything like that very much. It's a lot of just weight room and conditioning, so that really helps us out.
Nice.
No doubt. You have to be in shape with putting up some of the numbers you guys have. Is there a wide receiver, whether they went to Medina, they're in college, the pros, that you kind of look up to and you base your game off of? Because I know Medina has had a lot of great wide receivers. And actually, Brennan Schramm transferred, I believe, to OU. I watched him versus Bowling Green firsthand, and he's still making great catches and running those solid routes. Are there any wide receivers that you look up to or try to be like?
Yeah, Schramm, I looked up to him, and I actually got jersey number 2 for Juan. I looked up to him a lot. I wanted to, play like him. He's playing both sides of the ball, so I tried to put a little bit of corner out. It wasn't really for me.
It's tough to play offense and defense. I mean, you got to be tired enough on offense.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Austin, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us tonight. We look forward to seeing how the Bees finish up as you guys are working towards a potential at least one home game, maybe 2 in the playoffs. A tough game against Shaker Heights coming up, but best of luck to you. Stay healthy, and hopefully we'll check in with you or maybe some of the Bees here as the playoffs move on.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Austin.
Thanks, Austin.
All right, that is Medina Bees wide receiver Austin Knowles, school record holder for the most receiving touchdowns in a career. And given what Medina has been able to do in the last 5 to 10 years, has just been nothing short of amazing. They've really put a hurting on the scoreboard and have put a hurting on a lot of the records that have probably existed prior to these last few years. Certainly having quarterbacks like Drew Allar and Danny Stoddard will certainly help that out. But it takes great receivers in order to make great quarterbacks. So they obviously go hand in hand there.
And you got to, I mean, look, the outcome was not what Medina wanted last week at all, but the production they're getting from that position from him alone, I mean, on a week in, week out basis, that's something you can't, I mean, that's a luxury a lot of coaches would love to have. If you could count on your guy, your wide receiver, bringing down anything you throw his way, essentially, and getting, upwards of 150, 200 yards in receiving, you're doing something right over there at Medina. You got to wonder, can they continue that throughout that playoffs? Because it's only going to get more difficult for them going forward. We have Shaker Heights this week. They have another game, I don't know against who, week 10, but then you could kick right into playoffs. Yeah, Solon, and then you have, and then you're in Division I playoffs. So it's like you gotta have that short, that short memory and just continue doing what they're doing. That was a great answer by him, to continue doing what they're doing, because in a shootout, somebody's got to lose, and unfortunately, it was Medina that came out on the wrong end of that. But I mean, you put up 41 points, you think you're going to win pretty much week in, week out, and they've been doing it, or 46 points. But they've been doing it pretty much week in and week out throughout the season. They had just a couple of unfortunate run up against a couple teams that are like that. So.
All right, and with that, we are now joined by a couple of Valley Forge Patriots here, the pride of Parma Heights. Ben Farson and Nick Makins join us on the show. Hopefully your audio and visual works. We didn't really get a chance to test that out with you, but how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
All right.
Doing
nice.
Great. All right, look at that. We did it. We did it the first time.
I like it. Ben and Nick, we'll try to do this one by one so we don't have a bunch of mixed up answers here. Congratulations, first off. What a great win for Valley Forge last week against a very tough opponent. I don't think I need to tell you guys that. But it was a classic Valley Forge game. Ben, let's hear from your side first. Your side of it first. You guys had you guys are coming in probably not favored. I was probably one of those people that actually said that, so that's why I'm definitely glad that you guys are on, so I can give you props. And two, just what was the game plan? You guys followed the game plan to a T, but now that the game's over, let's go in a little bit about the game plan for that game against Buckeye.
Coming in the week, we knew they wanted to run the ball. From the defensive perspective, we knew if we could stop the pass, or if we could stop the run and make them throw, we would have a lot of success defensive-wise on offense. Our guys have gotten better and better as it's gone on. We have a whole new line. All 5 starters last year graduated, so as the season progressed, they got better. And it's all just coming together now from the offensive perspective.
Nick, same question from the offensive side, from your side as well. You had a lot of success on their. You had a lot of success on their defense too, Nick. With you had 26 carries. What were you guys able to see on the defensive end, or on their defensive end, that you thought you might have some success?
Well, basically, our whole game plan was to stop 55 on defense. Like, he's the big guy who's gonna kill our runs. So we stopped 55, and me and Ben broke out big runs. The rest of our offense breaking out 5-6 yards of play, and that's basically all we have to do. We just ran the ball on them all game. That's all we needed to do, basically, and it worked. Stop 55 and we win.
I mean, you gotta love that game plan coming in there. You make that really simple. You stop 55 and you make them throw the ball. Talk a little bit about what the messaging was throughout that game, because again, Buckeye is known for running that ball, controlling that clock, and when you force them defensively into playing from behind or close, and they had to throw the ball, did your coaches keep reminding you what the game plan was? What was the message that you were getting from your coaching staff and your other teammates as that game progressed? And it was a tight game throughout, I was following it from Fairview because it was a fantastic game, but I wanted to know what that messaging was from you guys and your coaches.
We came into the game knowing if we wanted to get the ball, control the clock, crank out 3-4 yards a carry. Obviously, we broke out some bigger chunk plays, which helped out, but we really just wanted to maintain possession and do what we do best, and that's run the ball. So that's really what we focused coming in. And then our coaches have a lot of trust in us. We'll go off the sides, tell them what we're seeing, tell them what plays to call. That's how we get our shot plays sometimes. So we were just communicating with them, getting on the same page, and running what we knew would work.
Basically.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, like what Ben said, coaches have so much trust in us. Like, I'll come out for a play and say, "Oh yeah, this play's gonna hit," and then the next play I'm in, that we call that play. That's just basically how it is. The coaches just have a lot of trust in us, and it seems to have been working so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have you've won 2 out of your last 3 games, and that loss you had was 2 weeks ago against University School. You lost by 3 points. When you have this kind of victory against a tough opponent like Buckeye, what kind of momentum does that give your team going into the final 2 weeks of the season? Presumably 2 winnable games. I know every game is different, but you got games that are now very winnable for you guys. What kind of momentum does a victory like this give to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, after the University game, we came in University is a very good team. We realized we were starting to click, could move the ball, stuff like that. So we were just me and Nick, we walked into class on Monday, actually, and everyone, we get a lot of backlash telling us that we're not good and all that. We were telling everyone, watch, we're going to beat Buckeye this week. That's what we went out and did. So our confidence has just been building since then, and everything's just gotten better. And next 2 weeks, we hope to do a lot of the same.
Yeah. We're talking with Ben Farson and Nick Makins from the Valley Forge Patriots. Coach sent us Coach gave us a little bit of information on you guys. So Nick, I understand that you've really taken off on the offensive end. So you're kind of taking the foot off the pedal on the defensive end. How much has that helped you being able to focus more on the offensive side? and not putting enough, as much attention on the defensive side?
Yeah, I'm off defense. It's like defense made me so gassed, like and especially against all these good teams. Like I'm have to be tackling these big running backs or like these big wide receivers. It'll take a lot out of me. But now since I switched to just offense only, I can break out these big plays or get 5-6 yards every play. Just stuff like that just makes me not exhausted and can help me move the ball more. Basically, yeah.
Was that your call, or was it coach's call to make that for that to happen? Or combination?
It was my call. I started to notice how my offense was affecting off of my defense, and I didn't really want to play defense that much, but I just did it. But yeah, it was really my call to switch to offense only, and it's been helping me a lot.
Nick, when did you make that switch? Just curious. If you don't know, it's no big deal. I was just curious.
I think it was after. I think it was after the 5th game. When we came into university, I didn't play at all on defense.
Okay. Well, after the 5th game would have been the game against Rocky River, and then you guys played Lakewood, then University School, and then Buckeye. So
yeah. It was university. I meant.
Okay, no problem. I mean, I was going to say if it correlates to you and the victory against Lakewood, well, maybe you're onto something there. Maybe you got some future coaching in your future.
Hey, Ben. Similarly, Coach mentioned that you have a lot of and you guys have already talked about this, but Coach talks about how you guys do call out plays and are able to see what things can move, what things can work. How important is it for you guys to be able to have your input, not only just in the game plan, but also in the moment, to be able for your coaches to trust you to run plays that you say are going to work?
Yeah, I mean, me and Coach Leheta, he was our offensive coordinator, just got promoted head coach. But we've just built a lot of trust over the past few years, and really it's just like a matter of we watch film. Me and him text about football all the time. It's just stuff like that. So we're really always on the same page. Like a play will happen, I'll look to the sideline, and he'll just give me the nod, like he's seeing what I'm seeing. So we're both on the same page with when we want to call next and take our shot plays.
Yeah, and there's if you head to our YouTube to watch this live feed, there's a few comments for the Valley Forge duo here. One is calling you guys the Wing T Warriors. And then actually we have somebody, and I don't know who this is. Maybe you guys know. A.O. Blur says, "We love you, Ben Farson." So you got a little fan club out there. I don't know if – and actually Hayden Moser was the other one. I don't know if you guys know these people, but you got a little fan club out there in Parma.
Well, I mean, look.
I had to read that because I was laughing here.
Yeah, they took down Buckeye, and now they're staring down the barrel. A big game this week against Normandy, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, rivalry game.
So I mean, that's a rivalry game for you guys, and I know you guys always get up to play that game. They'll probably get up to play you. Without giving too much of the recipe away, what are some of the things you guys are focusing on this week? You guys had a game plan for Buckeye. What are some of the things you guys are identifying, at least early on, about Normandy?
I'll let Nick talk about offense, but I'll start from a defensive perspective. Defense, we really just want to keep the quarterback, Elijah Gray. We want to keep him in the pocket. Don't let him get out, make some big explosive plays. That's really our main focus. We think we can take advantage up front, and then we trust our DBs a lot. We feel like we can hit those receivers. We should be able to bottle them up and hopefully just get a lot of stops, get off the field, and control the clock on offense.
For our offense game plan, basically just run the ball hard. Wing T, just run the ball hard, and then when they drop their heads, hit them over top for a TD. That's basically it. Just pound the ball hard, just kick it down the throat. That's basically it.
There it goes.
We'd be remiss.
Simple. I like it.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention, Danny Kewell being the kind of the orchestrator of this offense, being able to find the right reads to give the ball to you, give the ball to both of you guys, but also keep the ball from time to time, then also hit those big over the top plays. He's been in the program, he's been in the offense for a while, running it as well. Talk about his performance not only against Buckeye, but as the season has gone on as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing with Kiwo since I was in 7th grade. Me and him, we've had that connection. We both play baseball together. I've grown up playing with him. It's just like over these years, he's developed so much. He's become a actually tremendous thrower. I know he plays in a wing tee. People won't give him his props, but he actually has a great arm, and he's very accurate with his throws. Has good reads. He takes his time, and he knows what to do, and he gets the ball to you when you're open. He's a great quarterback.
Yeah, this is my first year playing for Forge, and I just noticed that Keywell is like a really strong dude. He'll take the ball, just run head first into like a hole, and then just get up like nothing happened. And then he'll just throw like a great pass, or he just keeps passing and passing, or like giving us the ball. He just never stops. He's always in a huddle telling us, "Let's go, let's go." He's just a great motivator and just a great quarterback.
Well, Ben and Nick, both of you guys combined for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. I just got to talk about how that offensive line has been performing, because it seems like they're making big holes for you guys as far as like getting those rushing touchdowns. But just kind of talk about how that offensive line has been performing so far throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the year, we got off to a rough start. All those, like I said, all those guys were new. So it was a lot. We've moved some guys around. We've changed some stuff. But these last few weeks, I think we found our 5 guys up front. We have a couple guys rotating in for different plays, stuff like that. Those guys, they've been working their ass off in practice. They're just really turning into great linemen and doing what they need to do, putting their body on the line for us and just opening up the holes. It's just a great thing when it all comes together. It's been great.
Yeah, honestly, running backs are nothing without their line. So we can make these plays like juke one person, but we're nothing without our line. So our line making these holes and stuff, setting us up for our success is just great. Like you said, we didn't have the best like communication and like all that in the start of the season, but it's progressed, and here we are beating a 7-0 team. Our line has improved greatly, and I really I love it.
And with that, you guys are 2 games away from potentially winning the Great Lakes Conference East Division. The last iteration of this conference as it is. Big game against Normandy this Thursday night at Byers Field. Lots of I can't imagine what it is, what it's going to be like, especially with I'm sure with Parma having not being around anymore, and I'm sure some kids went to Valley Forge and one went to Normandy. I can't imagine what this game's going to feel like for you guys. But I'll just leave it at this. Best of luck to you. I can't looking forward to seeing how this game's going to shake out. And thanks for taking the time to join us. You guys just slayed a giant and Buckeye, and good luck for the rest of the year. And see if you can't take that title down and get yourselves a good playoff seed.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. I appreciate you taking your time. Let us join.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming
guys.
on.
Yep,
We
thank you.
appreciate it.
That is running backs Ben Farson and Nick Makins from Valley Forge. The Patriots, they are 2-0 in conference play. They are looking for their 3rd conference win over Normandy. That game will take place this Thursday at Byers Field, which is Normandy is technically the home team here, but they play the same field, so it's really just a game for them. But this game is so much more, given the dissolution of Parma. And these are the 2 schools that are still standing, and I can't imagine what both sides are going to feel in this game with that.
And that's a valid point, Ed, because that's something nobody really is talking about, the fact that there's former teammates that are going to be playing against each other. And high school, we all been there. High school is a unique experience in of its own. And then you have to deal with this. It's going to be really weird, but I'm sure once the kickoff happens and, the teams are out there, it's going to be all football, all business.
No doubt. Absolutely. So we thank them for taking the time to join us. And let's move on quickly to let's go to the Ray Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week polls. Let's throw it over to Josh and Rob to get us going there.
All right, and I'll put it on the screen here for you.
All right, so quickly, we'll just tell you the nominees once again. From the Suburban League, it was Eli Beach of Brecksville. From the Southwestern Conference, it was Kevin Jordan of Elyria. from the Greater Cleveland Conference, it was Marquise Davis. And then from the Great Lakes Conference, it was Elijah Gray from Normandy. And with 49% of the votes, it's going to go to Greater Cleveland Conference nominee from Cleveland Heights, Marquise Davis. So add this to another one of his awards he's going to win this year. And Noah, you said it. The dude just putting up numbers and over 300 yards, almost 400 if I'm not mistaken, and 6 touchdowns. So and the dude is only a junior. So
that's scary.
You want to talk about some scary thoughts for future defenses or current defenses of the Greater Cleveland Conference. So congratulations to Marquise Davis. You will be getting a care package sponsored, brought to you by Ray Felton State Farm and your friends here at Sports on Tap.
That's right.
Very good. Very good. Thank you guys very much. Great work on that as always. All right, let's get over to the Power 10 here. Not going to lie, this was not fun to do at all. I really struggled with this one.
Well, I was going to say, now here's the question. Is it harder now than it was from, the first one you did? Because I thought it might be a little easier now that you kind of have them set. But I know it's tough with some of the teams on the bubble maybe getting wins. And I wondered if it was tough the first one or now. Which is tougher here?
I don't know. Last week seemed pretty easy for you. Now this week is harder. So
this week, not so good. When teams 6, 7, and 8 all lose, it definitely throws some things in flux there. And 10 for that matter. 6, 7, 8, and 10 all lost. Now, mind you, the thing that makes it tough is that they're losing to teams that are above them in the rankings. So there's a balance between dropping them too far down, but also you have to reward the teams on the bubble that continue to win, and that's the situation that we find ourselves in here. So I will tell you, this will not match what Cleveland.com, for example, does, and I have my reasons for that. So there may be some teams that are lower than you would expect to see, but again, we're taking wins into account. We are taking the quality of your wins to an extent. The quality of your losses where it's applicable, and obviously head-to-head is there as well. But we also have to reward those that are about to win a conference, provided that it gets to that point. So,
and let's be – I'll give you a little credit here too, Ed. It's a little more difficult when you're only ranking 4 conferences and not the entire Northeast Ohio. There's plenty more teams to choose from for Cleveland.com. Not to say that they don't do a good job. We just do it better. We're more specific. So let's roll.
All right.
I like that. I like that, Josh. We do it better. And proof's in the pudding. But that's for later. Go on.
Yeah. Any comments, questions, or concerns about the Power 10, send those to Rob Troutman and Carol.
That's usually how this rolls. No doubt.
All right. Let's here's the bubble. The bubble does represent 11 through 15 here. So we see Avon Lake, Medina, Nordonia, Bay, and Shaker Heights. That's what the bubble looks like. Avon Lake, Medina, and Nordonia all suffered losses in this week. So it made it a little bit tougher to that made things not very easy to judge where they were at. So focusing on number 10, Olmsted Falls makes a pretty big jump. Buckeye drops 3 spots, I believe is where I had him drop that. Menor improves a spot. They beat Brunswick, but obviously they're a very, very good team, and they computer points wise, they're superior to that of a team like Medina. Aurora jumps into the top. They're starting to get a lot of quality wins, starting to build up. So their Joe Idle points or their state playoff ranking points are looking pretty good now. Rocky River makes a big jump up as well for the same reason, and they have a lot of points on the board coming up here against Bay Village. The top 5 remain unchanged. These teams keep winning. The top 5 is really easy to keep, quite honestly, because these teams really haven't done anything they continue to win. Makes that pretty easy. Wadsworth remains ahead of Cleveland Heights, really due to the strength of their victories. They do have more points from Joe Idle perspective than that of Cleveland Heights, and that's why they remain where they are at. Hudson and Highland still doing pretty good. Aurora is starting to get rewarded for being right next to Highland for all intents and purposes. Rocky River is heading up the GLC West right now, and their only loss is to a Perkins team that is a monster. And again, Menor, Buckeye Falls, they still have a good amount of computer points. That's why they're at 9. Olmsted Falls makes the big jump because not only do they beat Avon Lake, they double them up, and that's worth something there. So that's what the Power 10 looks like for this week. Again, it was not easy. Anything after 5 was rough. So there was a lot of volatility here due to the losses of 4 of those teams. They all lost, and the teams that were right beneath them all won, and there had to be a little bit of play there. So it wasn't easy, but this is where we landed.
There's a big bubble game in the GCC, Medina Shaker Heights. So maybe the winner of that game gets bumped back into the top 10 of the Power 10.
I agree.
Well, let's watch out for Hudson. I don't know how Ian Ludwig's shoulder injury is, and they don't have a Week 10 opponent. So let's keep that in mind. That might be good for them in terms of the actual playing on the football field. They got to get past that. Forgive me. I forget who they play. That's a bad job on me. Seeing how as I'm covering Suburban Natty, I believe they travel to North Royalton. That's going to be an interesting team to watch, especially with Highland right behind them, possibly making a jump.
Yeah, I was a little shocked when I looked at this when he threw it up there. I thought maybe Bay would sneak into that 10 spot, and the only reason I said that is because Olmsted Falls, big win over Avon Lake, but their 2 losses are not. I mean, yeah, they lost to Avon, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea of a top 10 matchup in the Power 10 taking on this week, for what it amounts to the title for the Great Lakes West. But, again, that's really my only issue. I know Olmsted Falls is a great team, taking nothing away from that. I just thought maybe Bay possibly deserved a little bit of a jump there. But again, you're right, at 5 through probably 14 are it's a pick 'em either way. I am impressed to see a team like Rocky River being at a 6. But again, I think that just is a testament to what they're doing out there. And Julian Patty and Nick DeSalvo. I mean, those kids, I've seen that in person. And that's when they get going downhill, Division 3, Division 2, Division 1, it's hard to stop that. And I saw it take over, in person. And that Bay Rocky River game is going to be very interesting, and the fact that it's at Bay Village is something to be said. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out, because again, I think next week and obviously Week 10 is a big one, but I think next week's going to be really telling for where this Power 10 is at going into the final week of the season.
And Josh was right. It was North Royalton that Hudson plays this next week.
The last thing I'll mention about this, Sean, I'm glad you said that about Rocky River, because when you're looking at you've mentioned this over the course of the Power 10, it's how they play too. And Rocky River, they can score a lot of points. They have an elite quarterback in Julian Patty. They have an elite running back in Nick DeSalvo. They have an elite receiver in Ryan Ricchetti. And that's not mentioning Oren Grieve or some of the other weapons that they have. Through McDougal. So they have an offense that can go on the field with these teams and be competitive. That's probably one of the bigger differences between them and some of the other teams that are on this that they are above now at this point. The elite play they have in the offensive end really makes a difference for them. So the Rocky River Bay game is going to be fantastic. Looking forward to seeing where that shakes out. So that is the Power 10. To wrap up that part of the show, we're almost out of here. Let's talk about where we are planning on going for Week 9. Who's going to take it away?
Well, I'll start. I mean, we've talked about it enough. So I guess I'll go out to Bay Village and I'll go watch this GLC West matchup between the Rocky River Pirates and the Bay Rockets. My second time this year heading out to Bay, so looking forward to that. Awesome stadium. Looking forward to an awesome game. And we'll be we'll be on Twitter. I think Noah's going out too. We'll be on Twitter at SOT Podcast. You'll be able to find highlights, score updates, and then after the fact, head over to our YouTube page. You'll see all the plays and all the highlights from the game live on our YouTube. I'm not live, but it'll be on our YouTube page.
I was going to say, is there something I don't know?
To view at your pleasure.
Very nice.
Well, guys,
no.
After taking last week off on an assignment, I am back. I will be heading back to my alma mater, Medina. I want to see the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. I mean, you talk about a team that did not a whole lot to expect from this year. They have proven themselves. I mean, even though they had the one loss to Menor, they showed what they can do as a team. And right now, they have a chance to prove themselves against a 5-wide attack against Medina, who we talked about with Austin Knowles on the show. It feels like if Shaker Heights, they do play Cleveland Heights, but this is a very big game for Shaker Heights so far. And if they can get past, even though the running back, Cornell Beard, he was injured last week, but do not deny the Red Raiders offense. They are just dominated throughout the whole of the field. And I think the biggest key for both of these teams is going to rely on how well their defense is going to be playing. I mean, I know Medina, they had a rough outing against Cleveland Heights and Marquise Davis running the ball all over the field, but I feel like this could be a good chance for Medina to bounce back against a very good Shaker Heights team, and we'll see how it plays out from this one, gentlemen.
Yeah, and Shaker Heights, they gave a fight to Menor last week. So, I mean, they or not last week, I believe 2 weeks, ago.
2 weeks ago.
So they played pretty well there in Menor and really hung tough in that game. Let's see what they do against another really good offense.
And as always, boys, as always, it's Professor Hype coming in to close this one out. I was talking to some family last weekend, and they were like, "Hey, Sean, what happens when you guys are, what happens after week 10? You guys just go away and focus on hockey?" And I said, "Whoa, what kind of a question is that? Crazy? No. Do we go away after week 10? No. What are we? What are we, the Carolina Panthers of podcasting? No. We go to the playoffs, baby.
Playoffs?
That's right. We go to the playoffs. We cover the playoffs. All the teams that are in our conference and make the playoffs, we cover them. Why? Because we're Sports on Tap, baby. That's what we do. Now, I'm going to take 1 second, a couple minute or two, because I know we got things to do. I got to watch me beat Ed tonight in a fantasy football game for the ages. It's going to happen once I get off and put my magic on. That's how it's going to work. But I would be remiss if I did not do what I feel is necessary, but bring up my alma mater, my team, the Vandalia Butler Aviators. Now, they are coached by Zach Geeth. Zach Geeth is a guy I played high school football with. He is a man who knows football. The guy was bred for football. I'm pretty sure he came out holding a football. And he's got my beloved Aviators at 6-2 on the year, with 2 losses to Northmont and Troy, who are 2 teams that are in Division I schools. And they didn't lose by much, but they ran the table on everyone else. They are sitting currently number 2 in Division III, Region 12. They have already, theoretically, according to Joe Idle, clinched the playoff spot. They might be bringing some playoff atmosphere back to Memorial Stadium in Vandalia, Ohio. And by God, I'm going to throw them a bone out here on my podcast, our podcast.
At least you finally threw. Hey, at least you threw him a bone in week 8. I mean, that's.
Hey, listen, I'm a conditioned Browns fan, guys. When we're successful, and we're for sure successful, I start giving props. You don't curse it before it becomes reality. But guys, fantastic! Enough. I'm so excited. But you know what? You have got to follow us. You know where to go. YouTube. Smash it. Smash the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Whatever you got to do. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your aunt. Tell your long-lost cousins that they want the best in Northeast Ohio coverage of football, sports, whatever you got to come to Sports on Tap. We have a website. We're on Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram. I think we've been talking about doing TikTok. I don't know. I might do a dance. Who knows? But guess what? You're going to get the best coverage at all. And guys, I'm so excited for this week. I can't wait. We got 2 guys going out. We have 2 games. And then next week, it's week 10. We're talking week 10. We're talking playoffs, baby. And that's where Professor Ed Dick comes in with his charts.
Wow, he's a professor. He's a professor now.
Computers.
Too many professors.
Well, listen, we're a college. We're a cluster of colleges. We love it here. But man. Ed's been tracking this. It's like it's fantastic, and he will break down all the playoffs that is fit to print for our.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting next week. That's for sure.
Got to tune in live every Monday night, 7:30. That's what we do here at Sports on Tap, guys. I'm done.
For a minute, I thought you were getting a little angry in the beginning there.
I was a little angry.
You were a little. The blood pressure was getting raised up there.
No. A man of my age, I have to control my emotions.
He takes medicine for that.
I do take medicine for that. But
all right, there you go.
Thanks for putting that out there.
That's okay.
Big.
No HIPAA law here.
What I heard out of all of that is I'm hanging on by the skin of my teeth, and I'll be very lucky if I come away with a victory here. The more operative thing of this is again we in case no one knew this, a bunch of us are from Brunswick here. We need a few wins to get into the playoffs here. Vandalia Butler, obviously Noah's from Medina. They're just fine. Big props to Vandalia for the Aviators for what they've been doing as well. They have clinched a playoff spot. Week 11 is in their future, and it's just all about playoff seeding there.
Well, and it seems like, Ed, it always comes down, I think a few years back it was Brunswick versus Strongsville, and the winner, I thought, made the playoffs. I mean, it was a little while ago, but it seems like maybe it could come down to that again. I mean, we'll wait and see what happens, but hopefully they can pull out a win and squeeze into the playoffs here.
They'll need to take on defeat a 1-6 Solon team first. Solon obviously did not play last week due to circumstances, and then it is the game in Northeast Ohio as we grew up with it as. So,
hey, I just want a quick note on that, and this is for all the Brunswick alum here. I still live in Brunswick. Ed, you live in Brunswick as well. My daughter, who's a freshman in high school, she is excited to go to that game. She's going to be going to the game this week, but she's excited to go to that game, and she's not calling them Strongsville. She is calling them Weeksville. So the rivalry lives on, my friends.
Oh, wow.
It's real in the Jeffy house right now.
Did you teach her that?
I can neither, confirm nor deny, but rivalries, old rivalries do die hard.
Hey, it's been
partial.
You guys were successful in your senior year game. You have a lot more to talk about with them than I do, unfortunately.
Would Strongsville be considered your guys' team up north geographically?
Yes.
Actually, yeah. I guess we could say that.
That's accurate.
Look at me in maps.
I'll tell you what, man. Strongsville fans, I'll never forget walking onto their field, man. Little kids lining up, screaming some interesting things at you. I mean, it's a rivalry for sure. I mean, going down the hill to Strongsville, it's intense. It's a great feeling, and I'm sure it'll pick up. Obviously, Brunswick has Solon, like we said first, but it's a great rivalry.
What's really odd is that still happens to Rob when he covers a game.
I know. I don't get it. I mean, I thought
it's off-putting. Little children scream cuss words at him, and we cannot figure out why.
Well, I will say I did have, I think, a 10-year-old ask if Sports on Tap was on TikTok this last Olmsted Falls game. So,
all right, I'm going to put this out. I'm not doing TikTok. I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing TikTok.
If anyone else,
I'm not dancing.
Anyone else was to pick it up?
Yeah, I know. Josh does every social media thing. Nope, I think we're already on now.
Nope.
But yeah, that was funny. I'm like, wow, I guess 10-year-olds are on TikTok now, are they? I mean, I was a little thrown back by that, but what do I know?
Fair enough. All right, I think we've said everything needs to be said there.
That's
thanks
right.
to Sean for hyping it up as always. Great job as always. Again, make sure you check us out on Twitter at SOT Podcast. Follow us on YouTube at Sports on Tap. Follow us on Facebook, Sports on Tap. On Threads at SOT_podcasts. And of course, SportsOnTapPodcast.com. You will get updated standings, where you're at, where your favorite team is at in the playoff standings, according to JoeIdle.com, and where we're going to be for Week 9 and then subsequently Week 10. For Rob Troutman, Sean Duffy, Josh Jeffy, and Noah Jacobson, my name is Ed Dick. Make sure you stick around. Hear another word from our tremendous sponsors, and at that point, we will see. I got to finish it. At that point, this has been the Sports on Tap High School Football Show presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. Stay tuned for our sponsors, and we'll see you on the other side.
RayFelton.com or call their office at 234-284-2996 for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, and life insurance needs.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections, including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.